Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Mike again here with Hills and Haulers Homesteading and Prepping, and I'm standing in the woods. It's not something uncommon for me. It's actually more or less common than I'd like for it to be, but anyways, I am in the woods right now currently, and I'm marking off the path where I'm going to separate two of the paddocks. And as you can see behind me and in front of me, it's pretty daggone steep. There's a lot of underbrush in here, so I've taken my engineer tape or surveyor's tape, depending on how you were taught, and I've marked the path down through here that I want to clear. This is actually the path right from all the way back up there, down through here, and then down. And there's an very old logging road right down through here, and it's pretty much a straight down drop to it. And it's not something I want to take a tractor down. I don't even want to take a dozer down it because it's that daggone steep and that sheer right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with a chainsaw, and I'm going to cut all this little brushy stuff out. Some of it's little, some of it's a little bigger. It's not terrible, but something I can handle and get out of the way. And just get me a path clear down through here to this road. And then from the bottom down here at the meadow, I think I can get my tractor up in here to the road. Because this side is, like I said, it's cut straight down, and down there it's a little steep, but it's not terrible. And I marked a couple little other areas up there to kind of show me the area where the opening is in the fence, so I can see as I'm coming up in. So I'll at least come up to the road with the tractor, try to cut me a nice clear spot right across through here, clear all this brush and stuff out with the tractor, but all the rest of this is going to be done by hand. And we don't have terrible weather in the future. We got some rain coming up and stuff. It's going to prohibit me from getting out here and doing this, but other than that, this is the main part of it. This is the biggest area. It's going to take me the most work because I've got to get this area cleared. Everything else is pretty much mostly cleared, and it's going to take moderate effort. This is going to be the heaviest effort here. And then when I run this, we'll actually separate two paddocks. It'll separate this side and then this side. And then both of these are going right down to the field. There's going to be a 4-foot field fence put in down there, and that's because the lambs are going to be on the other side of that. But there's going to be a 4-foot field fence put down there, and that's going to be the electric will stay on this side of it for the pigs, and then the 4-foot field fence for the lambs. But there's 300 plus yards of fence that needs to build all the way across here, out through there, down, back out across here this way, and then down to the road, and then back out around this whole part down here where you can just barely see. Where's my barn? There's my barn. Right there's my barn. It'll come down below my barn and then up to the back corner there. And then there's 4 stalls in that barn, so the first stall on this side will be used for the lambs, for shelter and stuff for them. So nice big area for them, for 3 lambs to feed in and everything. So going to be good to go here. You can almost see the outline here around my neighbor's, where his lawn is mowed and this is field here. So just the contrast in the brown yellow to the green. So pretty easy, simple to follow. Not terrible. There's already a post down there marking the one corner. I'm probably going to have to get the other side surveyed off. I called today to see how much they charge me to come in and do it. Just because it's going to make good neighborly things, to make a good neighborly thing to do. That way there's no problems in the future. There's no question about it. And he's a fair guy. I love him to death. And, you know, he's fair. So I won't worry about that too much. In the meantime, what I wanted to talk about tonight was, I've been hearing, you'll have to forgive me as I try to make my way back through this mess. You know, I've always talked about during your preps and everything like that, for the time periods, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, and up to a year. And you have to forgive me, we'll get a little up close and personal here as I try to weave my way through these daggone briars, because it's going to hurt. It always does. Ouch! Ouch! Woo. Ooh, that's a green briar too. That one hurt. That's grabby. Ouch. Sorry, I was getting a little bit too close to me here. Anyways, so 3 months is kind of the standard. And subscribe to, watching other channels, listening to others' input and everything like that about, you know, the timeline and everything. I think a lot of the timeline that they set up, that 3 months minimum, is something that is more set up for an urban, suburban type environment. And the reason I'll just stand here in the woods, talk to you. I'm just as at home here as I am anywhere, so actually more at home here. But so the 3 month minimum is a good standard, and the reason they do that is it's a just kind of like a guideline that they would anticipate if there was a big event, that within 3 months time all services would be restored. You know, shipments back to the supermarkets and the grocery stores and things like that, and public utilities would be restored. And, you know, just usually within that timeline. And of course, that is true. And I mean, 3 months is it takes a pretty big event to do something like that, to keep it out that long, but not unheard of. But if you take something like that, I'm just going to sit down. Oh, yes. All right. So if you take a timeline of 3 months like that, it would take a pretty big event to keep things down that long. 9/11 was an event to where, I mean, it took a long time to get flights back to normal schedules, regain some normalcy and stuff like that. And that was nationwide. You know, even though it happened in New York, it was an event that impacted the entire nation. So, you know, that area around New York and everything like that, things were tight and, you know, not operating normally for a long time after that. But it did have, you know, national impact and stuff. Actually, even global when it comes to the airline industry and stuff. So if we look at, yeehaw, that was a briar in the wrong place. If we look at these events and something that would happen, like I said, in a suburban or rural environment, or suburban or an urban environment, that within 3 months everything should be mostly back to normal, supplies, store shelf stocked and everything. But then you get an area like this, and I mean, the area before, I mean, we're rural. We're not like completely off the beaten path rural, but we're rural. This is our holla. I mean, it goes way down the holla, it goes into another county and everything. And I'm 7.5 miles from the interstate one way. I'm 8 miles to the interstate the other way. And it's the same interstate. So, you know, I'm really not that far off the beaten path. I'm 6 miles from Walmart. So, a super Walmart at that. Woohoo, you know. And actually set right in between two of the fastest growing areas in north central West Virginia here. So, you know, we're far enough off the beaten path where it's convenient and it's nice, or it's quiet, it's nice, we're not encroached upon, but it's still convenient because we can get to most of the local amenities fairly quickly. But you take an event that would, say, a widespread, we'll just say we're going to use power because just about everybody runs off electric, and we're going to assume that everybody's tied to the grid, even though there's different electric companies, electric providers and stuff like that. Everybody's tied to the grid, and there's a massive, you know, statewide or even tri-state or even East Coast or even nationwide grid down event. Okay, no more electric, it's out. That could be from an EMP, that could be from, you know, the sun going into solar maximum and huge coronal mass ejections and solar flares just wiping out the power grid and everything like that. Anything like that. Okay, what may take 3 weeks in an suburban environment to return things to normal is going to take much longer in a rural area. And I know this factually because, and you hate to say it like this, we're a lower population, lower number population, and we're a lower customer base. And that's how they look at things. You know, we've had several instances. We have 2 power companies that run down this holla here, and you've got one power company on one side, and you've got another power company, which is a co-op, on the other side. And we're on the co-op, and we're the very last residents on that co-op line. From here, it goes back to one electric company, you know, all the way down. And they told us, they said, you guys are last on the line. You know, if there's ever something that happens and your power's out, you can expect to be the last on you know, to get your electric back. And I said, and we got a standby generator. I said, I don't care. You take all the time you need. You know what I mean? Because we'll run on standby electric. That's why we ran over 1,700 feet of gas line when we built the house, was to be able to have a home standby generator and not have to rely on that. Because when we lived down here on the front part of the property, we used to live in a, ooh, I gotta drop that down. We actually used to live right down here on this bottom part of the meta here in a mobile home, and we had all electric. The trailer, the mobile home, was all electric, and didn't have gas, and it was pretty crappy when the electric went off. And we ended up buying a wood stove and put a wood stove in there, and man, that really helped, because there was a lot of problems on this co-op during that time. There was I think they called it a 3-phase, few miles up the road up here, that just kept tripping, kept going out all the time. And finally, the Public Service Commission there was so frequent outages in the area that the Public Service Commission told us that you've got to replace that. You've got to fix it. You're having too many outages. We're getting too many complaints. So they finally did fix it. But, you know, even with that and that issue being resolved, even though it is a smaller electric company, a co-op, the service that they offer and they give you is great. We've never had any problems with the service, but again, we're last on the line, so we're going to be last restored. So, you know, in essence, putting in a home standby generator was prepping because we knew what was going to happen. In the meantime, though, you know, we looked at all possibilities of getting gas up here, and that was the only route we were able to go, and that's why it took so long. But it was worth it in the end, because we've had a lot of power outages in the meantime, and we had one, I think, in 2015 that winter, and I mean, we were out for close to 3 days, and I mean, there was a ton of snow, and it was really cold. So having that home standby generator, buddy, that made all the difference in the world. But you know, in a setting like this, again, lower population numbers, smaller customer base, our services, our utility services are going to be restored lastly. You know, now it may be something in another area that's got us out here, they get it restored. But if it's something in this holla, and it happened in 2012 when that Derico come through here, there was a tree that fell across the other power company's power line right over here. I can actually see the area where it fell. And friends and neighbors down the holla here were completely out for more than 10 days. Right there was the tree causing the problem, and they were the last ones to get their power turned back on, because lower population, lower number of customers in this area. So they went, and it was, man, it was miserable hot that summer too. Gosh, it was so freaking humid and just nasty. And you know, that was the big storm where people were fist fighting at the gas pumps, like on day 2, fighting to get gas for generators. And that's no exaggeration. They were knockdown, drag out fights. Craziness. But you know, 3 months being the standard, and that is because, again, in a rural area like this, we're looking at a longer time to get return of services. You know, even if the National Guard's activated and stuff like that, National Guard can't be everywhere. In 2001, southern West Virginia had massive flooding down there. We called it the Southern Storm 2001 is what our mission was called. And it was a month. It was a month long, and we were spread out between, and just my unit, my battalion, we were spread out between 5 counties down there. And you're talking McDowell, Boone, Wyoming, Fayette, Kanawha, and what are the other counties? I can't remember which one it was, but we were spread out thin down there for a month, and it was miserable down there. Let me tell you, because them poor folks, I mean, it was bad enough because it was summer and it was hot to begin with, and of course, you're in the military, don't nothing about comfort in the military, especially when you're out in the field like that. But it was just miserable all the way around because there was nothing. I mean, everything was just wiped out. So, you know, yeah, it was uncomfortable for us, but those poor folks down there suffered a lot. There was a lot that they had to contend with. A lot of people lost everything that they had. But like I said, it was, even with the National Guard being activated, and even from other states, you've got a large geographic area in a very rural area. There's a lot of stuff that had to be done, and everybody was spread thin for a month or more. I think the recovery took close to 2 months, but we were down there I was there just shy of a month. Because that was the summer that I started nursing school that August, and they actually let me leave about a week early to go back so I could get started into school, so I didn't lose a year of school. You know what I mean? Because they wouldn't let me make up that first week, being so critical in nursing school, according to them. But you know, again, it's just a situation of being in a rural area like this, where services are going to be the focus, the recovery and the services are going to be focused on getting restored in the more urban, suburban environments where the higher population densities are, versus us in a rural environment. So that's why I always tell you guys, 3 months is a minimum. That's the standard. 3 months is the standard, because if something would happen, like I said, a big event, and 3 weeks, if I tell you go 3 weeks and you should be fine, 3 weeks comes and goes, now you're hungry, you ain't got no food, and there ain't nothing on the store shelves, you're gonna have to go stand in freaking line for the Red Cross, or the National Guard handing out food packets and stuff like that. You're gonna be going, damn it, Mike, I'm telling you, I wish he'd have told me 3 months instead of 3 weeks. So I'm gonna always tell you 3 months is gonna be your standard, minimum standard, and a year is gonna be your gold standard. And just simply for, if something would happen, and it stretches out, the recovery takes that long to get here. And I mean, it could be anything. It could honestly be anything that could happen that could really just, God knows we're in a mess where we're at right now with our country and everything like that, and our infrastructure is terrible. And you just put an earthquake somewhere, or a big power grid outage or something like that. it ain't gonna take much. I mean, we're truly at a tipping point. And again, I'm not fear mongering. I don't want you to think I'm doing that, but I'm just telling you from a rural standpoint. If you live in an area like this, and most of my friends do, you have to take it out farther. And so 3 months, once you get there, take it to 6 months, 6 months to 9 months, 9 months to a year. Take it there, go for it, and leave it at that. And don't accept anything less, because always and again, prep like nobody's coming to help you, because more than likely you're not going to get that help in a timely manner if it does come at all. So that's going to be it. It doesn't look like it on a camera yet, but it's getting dark, and I'm going to head back up to the house here. Got a little track not too far. But in the meantime, if you guys know anybody who's like-minded and you guys like this content, please leave us a like on the YouTube channel. I really want to get this channel to grow and get more outreach to people, and kind of build a better base and everything like that, so we can network and connect with other people and everything. And the only way I can get this channel to grow is if people subscribe to the channel and they like it, and they leave, they enjoy the content, they share the content. If you leave a comment, tell me what you think, tell me where you're at with your prepping. Had another friend reach out to me, like I talked about in the last video. Had another friend just reach out to me, and Dave, I can't tell you how glad I am to hear that, buddy. And I know like-minded people, but it makes me very happy to know that other people are taking this kind of stuff and preparing themselves and their families for an event that could happen, very likely could happen, any kind of event. But that's a comfort and a security right there, just to know that others are going to be prepared, or are prepared should something happen. But please subscribe to the channel, share this content with friends, like-minded folks. Leave us a like, or give us a like on the YouTube channel. Leave us a comment, tell us where you're at, what you're doing. In the meantime, folks, take care, God bless, and keep prepping.